Hey everybody, it's Frida. It's October the 2nd, 2014, and I just wanted to take a look at some of the things in the news coming out today about the Ebola situation. The gentleman Duncan, who is down in the hospital in Texas. I had heard earlier today that 4 days prior to him leaving Liberia, he actually had helped bury an Ebola patient. This article, which is on the NewYorkPost.com, and I'll put the link below, says while living in Monrovia, Duncan, who is in his mid 40s, helped a teen family friend get to a hospital for Ebola treatment and carried her into her house when she was unable to get to a bed. So this gentleman had contact several times with sick and or dead Ebola patients. So that's how he contracted it. But there's a couple of things here that this particular article, by the way, says Ebola outbreak fear drives down airline stocks. And, there's people canceling their flights and stuff. That's pretty much to be expected. He was on the United Airlines. He stopped in Brussels and D.C. on the 19th. He was diagnosed a week later. Another one here I want to share with you. This is on Breitbart.com. Again, I'll put all these links down below. U.S. Ebola patient was a former FedEx worker who decided to just go to the U.S. after getting fired. So he gets fired. He has several encounters, close encounters with sick people with Ebola, sick and or dead people, and he decides to just get up and go to Texas. It just raises the question to me, did he assume that yes, he had contracted it and knew that if he stayed there, he was probably going to die from it because the treatment's so lacking down there? Maybe he thought he had a better shot. Or did he honestly not think he had the virus? I don't know. But it is kind of peculiar, especially, this particular article with Breitbart. Duncan did not leave Liberia with any outward symptoms of the disease. His decision to leave the country followed his dismissal from a job at FedEx in early September. By then, he had already received a visa to visit a relative in Texas, so he decided to just go. The Observer does not note that the source elaborated on what he meant, whether Duncan had decided to just go. He also did not discuss the job at FedEx. There's something, this gentleman, he has risked a lot of people's lives, and I find it hard to believe that if he was in hand-to-hand physical contact with infectious Ebola patients, how did he not think he had contracted it? I don't know. But anyway, so he was fired. He had been planning a trip to the U.S. to visit family. He decided just to go on and come on. And in the meantime, speaking of time.com, 4 people quarantined over Ebola fears and about 100 more are being assessed. So he had a lot of contact with a lot of people. I'm sure some of those are coming from the airports and such. But he apparently had contact with children. And I'm not quite sure how that came about. So they've got some people quarantined for a 21-day incubation period. That's good news. What is this? The Daily Caller. The White House, this is one of their top stories tonight. White House, we won't stop people from Ebola-stricken countries coming to us. Why not? I'm going to go back to my theories. You can call them conspiracy, whatever, but we brought those 2 doctors here to the CDC from Africa that had contracted Ebola. And I haven't really heard much about them lately, but so I assume that they're I assume they're alive. But I really have to wonder if the theory is let them come on in. If they get Ebola, people will get scared about Ebola. We can sell annual vaccines just like we do for the flu. We can come up with medications. Pharmaceuticals are in the business of you being sick. And this is a virus that had never been seen on the American continent. And now all of a sudden we got all this fear mongering going on. I'm still not willing to call it an epidemic or a pandemic or anything of that nature. The flu kills thousands and thousands of people every year, and we haven't called it a pandemic or an epidemic. Every now and then there's a higher risk level flu season than the year before. But anyway, so the White House is not going to, it's like they're afraid of upsetting anybody outside of our borders, but they could care less what those of us that are inside the borders think. BBC News. Texas checks 100 for exposure. Pretty much the same story as what was on the other one. Probably came off of the same press release. Save the Children has warned that Ebola is spreading at a terrifying rate in West Africa. The number of new recorded cases doubles every few weeks. That's kind of scary. But you got to remember, too, when you're looking at these stats on the death rate, when you are in Africa, you're in a third world country, and there's not things like running water, high quality medical facilities. You got to travel to get to a doctor. So our mortality rate here with the Ebola will not even reach the levels that it is in Africa, simply because we're healthier to start with. Of course, that could be debated as well. We're fat and eat genetically modified foods and eat McDonald's and crap like that. But really, we do have better access to cleanliness and doctors than they do in Africa. And then I come back to what I just said a minute ago about the CDC. I'm positive they're working on whatever it is that they want to sell to everybody that gets scared of Ebola or that gets Ebola. The other thing that's pretty upsetting today, I'm sure a lot of you all have heard about it, but gosh darn, it turned out that when this guy was ready to go back to the hospital, they called an ambulance. The ambulance was not sterilized for 4 days. He had thrown up all over the place outside when he was coming out of the hospital, when he was being sent home. And it was not disposed of properly. And workers were out there cleaning up the vomit, unmasked, open skin, short sleeve shirts and such. Who knows? Those people probably have picked it up. Go over here to the homepage of Fox News. Of course, their big top story is already talking about the voting booths this fall. But I noticed this right here, warning ISIS looking to slaughter family of U.S. military personnel. This has nothing to do with the Ebola situation, but I just wanted to point it out to you. We were all sharing that information on Google Plus and Facebook, YouTube a week ago. And Fox News is just now putting it on there. But, at least they're finally getting it on there. I also saw where Obama was talking today and was picking on Fox News, specifically by name. And you know what? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, if Obama doesn't like Fox News, he must be agitated at them for some reason. So that means to me that they're doing something right. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to run my mouth about some of that stuff tonight. I hope you guys are doing good.